I am your English teacher, Aradhna Abigeri. In this session, we are going to deal with The Road Not Taken, written by Robert Frost. So, first of all, we'll go with the introduction of the poet, and then next the poem, and later we'll move on to the line by line explanation, rhyming scheme, literary devices, and other keywords of the poem. So, let's start this session with the introduction of the poet. Robert Frost. Robert Frost was born in San Francisco, the United States of America in 1875, and he died in Boston in 1963. He was the most poignant writer of American literature. His first works were A Boy's Will, written in 1912, and A North Boston. These two works were his first works, and his first works were published by the British publishers. In that intuition, he had moved with his wife to New England. After visiting New England, there the British publishers identified and took his work seriously, and he got all his works run out, and his poetic career went to the peak. Robert Frost was a transitional poet. He had written all the psychological, psychoanalytical, deliberative, not much complexities in his poems. We could see his journey of life is quite in grief and loss. His personal life also went in much grief and loss, because very early he lost his wife in 1938, and after 98 till 1963 he had lived all alone his life. Either he stayed with his friends or he stayed all alone. And even in his family, he was not so happy, because all his children died in infancy, or either they were insane. The children went insane. So this was the journey of Robert Frost, and he was a great countryman. He was well versed in country things, because in the beginning, after his father's death in 1885, he moved to Lawrence, where to grandparents, his paternal place, and there he finished his high school and college, and later he joined textile mill. He worked in textile mill, he worked as chicken farmer, he knew dairying, so he was well versed in all country things. So that is why he could write all these thoughts of life, what he has faced, in his poems. Even this poem correlates with the journey of life of any human being. So let's start the poem. So let's begin the poem explanation, The Road Not Taken. This is the first stanza of the poem. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveler. Long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Before we move on to the line by line explanation, let's discuss the title. The title symbolizes our life, that in our life, which path which we have not chosen. The poet says that the path which we don't choose in our life, that is the road not taken. It's beautifully, intelligibly explained by the poet Robert Frost. Let's dive into the poem and understand line by line and meanings of the important words. The two roads here refers to the life. We have many options in life. We have many paths in life. But yet we have to choose one. That one chosen by us has more impact of future. It is more affected, and that is the one choice which we make, that is our future. Now let's start the poem. Two roads. Here roads refer to life. Two roads. Once the poet was walking down the road here, and he comes, into a point where he sees two directions, separated two directions. Where did he find? He found in a yellow wood. So the poet says that as he was moving on a road, he found two roads where in a yellow wood. Yellow wood here represents forest. It also represents autumn season. And he apologizes in the second line, and the second line represents the dilemma of the poet, that he could not travel both the paths. He could not travel in both the paths, and he is the only one traveler there. He stood for a long time. He stood for a long time and looked down one as far as I could. So he had to choose one out of them in those forest. In yellow wood means forest with leaves which are wearing out. Here forest, in forest the leaves wearing out. It's almost worn out and they have turned yellow in color, which refers to autumn season. So it represents the world which is full of people. Here yellow wood also represents the world which is full of people, where people have been living for many years. The poet kept standing there and looked at the path very carefully, as far as he could see it. He was able to see the path till the end, how it looked, how the two paths looked, to where it went. So here the poet could see till the end in the undergrowth. Undergrowth here means densely grown plants and bushes. So densely grown plants and bushes. So he could see how the roots were, how the two paths were bent, and how were the lane. Of course, one lane takes another lane, one way takes another way, but still the poet could see out of his vision that how much it is grown, which path is better for me, which path is suitable for me. So there he stays and stands for some time and takes a deep look of both the paths. So in the first line it is descriptive, second line the poet is in dilemma, and third line the poet thinks for a longer time and he stands there. He stood for a longer time and he was the only one traveler over there. He took a look for a longer time, and as far as he could see till the end he saw, and both the roads had been under the many densely plants and bushes. Both the roads were overgrown. So here what this paragraph suggests to our life, how does it correlates to our life? So it happens in our life too, that we have many alternatives, we have many choices in life, but which one we should choose? We go to many career counselors. Earlier, many of us, like we as students, we used to go to our teachers. We used to go to our mentors in the school or colleges and ask them which one is better for us, which career is better for us. But nowadays, as the modern time, further students go to career counselors, they pay them, and that's how the time has changed when it comes to making choices. It is not only making choices regarding career, it's also about many things here. There are many phases in life when we have to make choices. So how the poet is quite careful and wise that he observes. He's quite introspective in this stanza. We could see the poet's introspectiveness and how deliberate he is. He waited, he stood there and he looked, he took a deep look. In these two lines we could see that his introspectiveness and how well and wise he is thinking over which line, which path is better for me, which lane is better for the poet. So that's how that's related to our life. When we take decision on which path should we walk, that should be a better path for us, because that, that is the one choice, that one path will be a big impact on our future. So let's move to the second stanza now. I hope you have understood the first stanza. Before we move to second stanza, let me clear the rhyming scheme and literary devices used in the first stanza. So here, rhyming scheme of this poem is almost equal. In all the four stanzas, the poet has used AB, AAB scheme. So what is rhyming scheme? Rhyming scheme means musical notes. The ending words, musical notes. So in a lyric poem, always the ending words have one or the other musical notes. So that is rhyming scheme. Yellow wood, stood, could. Both, growth. So would, A, then both, B, stood, A, could, A, and undergrowth, B. A, B, A, B. So this is the rhyming scheme of the poem, which continues and further to the next. Let's begin with second stanza. Then took the other, just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as far that the passing there had warned them really about the same. So the poet here kept on looking at one path in the previous one for a longer time to check which path is right for him, and further he decided one. So he decided, then he took the other. He saw both the paths and then he took one path, thinking that hope it is better one for me, better one for him, and having perhaps the better claim. So he thinks that of course this path would have been, it's a better option for him, and he further decided to travel in that path. So travel on that path, and he started walking on the other path which he had chosen. And he also knew that it was grassy. As he started walking on the lane, as he started walking on the path, he got to know that it was grassy. Grassy here means unused. Many people have not walked over. And wanted wear is almost the synonym of grassy. Grassy here means that there were many grasses. Many people have not stepped on the path which is unused, which looks very heavily, hugely plants and bushes, but which is unused. Wanted wear here also, many people who have not walked over on the road. Fair, claim, wanted wear. These are the keywords of this stanza. So the poet feels that both the paths are equal and they just contribute equally to one another. In order to know which path is good, the poet waited in the previous stanza, in the first stanza. He took a deep look as far as he could see. And then he took the decision of moving further, and he thought that it was a fair decision, and he thought that it was here better claim means better option. Fair is as good as the other. As good as the other. and wanted where means unused path. So it is also unused path. And here grassy, which means it's heavily densely plants and grass which nobody has walked on it, so it's very green. And wanted where means nobody has walked over. Though as for that the passing there, he says the paths are just as fair, the paths are equal to each other, and he started walking on one of them. And he also adds that the paths were better for him, the paths were better for him, better option, so he chose that grassy, which means that it was unused, and not many people walked on that path, that is wanted where, not many people walked on that. And after he walked further for some distance, he realized that both paths have been worn out. Both paths have been worn out. Both paths have same condition. They are in same condition. Grassy, wanted where. So almost both the paths were same. So here the poet makes a good decision on walking on a path, and he takes a decision and he moves further. So this is the second stanza explanation. Let's move on to the next stanza. Before we move to next stanza, let me discuss the literary devices used in this stanza. Wanted where. Wanted where is an alliteration. Alliteration means where the two sounds comes in a consecutive consonant sounds. There are two consecutive consonant sounds, so that is called as alliteration. So for example, that the. So that the is a two consecutive sounds. The, that, the, v. So wanted where. So two consecutive sounds consecutively in the same pattern, they are repeated in the continuous, like repeated sounds or repeated consecutive consonants also we can say it. This is called as alliteration. Alliteration is a literary devices. So as I told, AAB pattern rhyming scheme in the previous stanza. So fair, where, there, claim, same. So fair is the A, claim B, where again A, there A, same B. A, B, A, B is the rhyme scheme of this stanza. So this stanza also correlates to our life. That means we have to take one option, and we should not think about what are the pros and cons of the path, but we should keep on moving in that path. Then only you will come to know. In all the paths we have challenges, problems, advantages, disadvantages. So we should be just making a good, wise, careful choice and move on, and then create and extend to the mainstream path. So this is how the poet has chosen the path, and let's see in third stanza what else. Further we'll move on to third stanza. And both that morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. So the poet says that both paths were equal. Both paths were similar. They lay in a similar way. In leaves no step had trodden black. Both had nobody unused the paths. No one has stepped on them. Trodden means no one has stepped on the path. They are still in green. The paths are still green in color. He decided to walk on the path in the previous stanza. He took the path. He decided that he would take one more path on some other day. Here another day suggests to some other day. Yet knowing how way leads on to way. Yet he knew that one way leads to another way. So he was enterprising and adventurous in this stanza, that in this third line we could see that he is enterprising, that he is quite exploring that how the way leads to the another way. Further, he doubted if he should ever come back. So he knew that he could not go back on the choice that he made. Similarly, even in our life, once we choose an option, we must keep on moving ahead without thinking much about it. And we should just go and extend our routes and paths in the choice which we have made. We never get a chance to come back in our path. So like that, the poet also says, hope I will never come back and take the another path. Hope that I am happy in this path which I have taken. So he says we never get a chance to come back and rejoin one more path. So this stanza correlates to our life exactly. In fact, many students take many decisions, and we have many decisions to be taken, important decisions to be taken in many phases of life. But once we take the decision, that is for final. That is why the poet also here wisely, carefully, he has taken the path, and he observed both the paths. They were both equal, and he also saw that they were not walked. The path which was not walked by many people, that path he has chosen. The hard path, not the shortcut path, not the easy path, not the many people who had walked on the path, not that route or not that lane. The poet is quite wise in this poem, careful, and yet knowing that how it leads. Though he knew that it is little tougher, it is little hard. Any path would have, it has its own advantages and disadvantages, problems and good. There is a saying, hope for the best, but be prepared for the worst. So we should also we should also get prepared for the worst situations. In the present situations, we should learn to go with hand in hand. We have best situations also and worst situations also. It's left to us which one we should choose. It's left to an individual. But nowadays many children have many options. In modern times, during our times, we never had taken any suggestions for our career. We used to meet our mentors or teachers in a college or high schools. But the new students of new time and modern time take career counseling. They pay and take career counseling for their betterment, for their future. Of course, that is the time has changed and we have to move with it. I'm not against that, but just took a reference of it. So the poet doubts that he would never come back. He hopes that he would never come back, and he never regrets that which path he has chosen. So we should keep on moving ahead which path we have taken. That option, and we never get a chance to come back and take the other option that we had left earlier, that road which we had left earlier, that will never happen in a life. So in this stanza, we hardly see, no more literary devices, but we can see that the poet keeps another way for another day, and both lanes were same as usual, and he is quite adventurous. Let's begin with the fourth stanza. Before that, there is one note for you. It is said that India's former Prime Minister, Pandit Nehru, had one of Frost poem in his pocket before he died. The poem's name is Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening. That poem is all about work is worship, and it is also the man's sense on duty. Of duty is what we have to perform in life. So all this Frost poetry deal with the great philosophy of life, and he was a great person who can also be called as transitional poet, as all have named him. He in his poetry there was much philosophical views. Deliberately he has given, without much complexities, he has explained us what is the journey of life. That is a beautiful thing about Frost poetry, which we all like. And let's move on to the stanza 4th. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. So difference, of course, in the last word you could see. So let's discuss the words also, keywords of the poem. Sigh, of course, ages and ages is the repetition. So once again, this is the initial part of the first stanza, which is repeated, and this stanza is in the future time. So what is the time frame of this stanza? It is in the future time. So the poet here says that, he says this is said in the future. He says in the future, I shall. So you can see the tense here, I shall be. So after taking the path while walking on some distance, so he revolves himself, he involves his mind, and he himself says that I shall be telling this with a sigh. Sigh means a deep breath with great ease. You can also represent with great ease also. So he shall be saying with a deep breath, with ease, right? Somewhere ages and ages hence. So he takes a deep breath and says that once upon a time he had reached such a point in life that there were two options for him, two directions for him. He traveled in a hard way. So he in a wood. Where is the wood? So in a hard way. Wood here refers to the hard way, which has grassy, which is almost densely populated with plants and bushes. The two roads, once upon a time, somewhere ages and ages before, many years, two roads diverged. He traveled in two, there were two roads in front of him, but he took one of the roads which was in, which was grassy, trodden. He traveled in a hard way. Later, that decision was a great impact of his future. And I took the one less traveled by. One less traveled by is the other path. The other path was traveled, and it was almost leaves, withering leaves. It has there. It is to be said that many people lived in the first stanza, but he took the one road, one path which is less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Similarly, in future, when you grow up, you also remember, when I was young, when I was at that phase, I made a choice, I made a better choice, many people guided me, and that choice, now it's my future. So you may also tell in the future times in such a way. This stanza is very meaningful and conclusive, that it tells us that we have to make the right choices in life, and in future we also would be saying that with a deep breath, that once upon a time I also had taken the decision that was less traveled by someone like poet, and that decision has made my future in the best way. It has impacted my future in a best way. So this is what we learn by this poem. So in next session we'll discuss the question answers and important keywords. So here the ages and ages is the literary device, repetition, which is used. So here, as usual, it is the initial paragraph is reminded, and this stanza is used for in the future time frame. So that is all about this poem, and we will continue, and I will give you the question answers details in the next video. Thank you so much.